Welcome to Online OHS training tutorials. In this tutorial, you will learn the 6 easy steps to compliance using the Online OHS system. So what are these 6 easy steps? The Online OHS system has been designed to help you meet your OHS obligations. By using the system in a simple 6-step process, you can use the system to its maximum potential. Step 1 is the starter kit. This is where you entered the basic data into the system, which has laid the foundation for compliance. Step 2 is identifying hazards. The first place to start identifying hazards is the activities, chemicals and plant equipment you have entered during the starter kit process. Step 3 is developing safe work procedures for the items entered, as well as emergency procedures. Step 4 is to develop checklists to maintain the safety. And step 5 is to develop policies around the activities and processes you have actually identified. And the last step, step 6, is inducting all your staff into the processes to ensure safety. Well, step 1 is the starter kit. When you first purchase your system, the starter kit is used to get all the basic information of your company into the system. The starter kit comprises of 8 steps. For more information on how to complete the starter kit, please see the tutorial on how to use the starter kit. You'll work your way through these 8 steps entering the data. Once the starter kit has been completed, the system is set up and ready for use. There is, though, things that need to be completed before you can say you are compliant. Step 2 is identifying hazards. Legislation states that you must identify, assess, control and review hazards in the workplace. The activities, chemicals, plant equipment already entered in the system when undertaking the starter kit are the first place you can identify these hazards. You may have already identified hazards relating to your activities and developed control measures. If you have, enter the hazards that you have already identified into the system, complete with the control measures that you have implemented. If you haven't previously identified hazards in your workplace, or have completed the process of hazards that you've already identified, the next thing to do is to look at the activities, chemicals, plant equipment entered in the system in the starter kit process and identify hazards relating to them. Enter all the hazards identified into the hazard register in the risk management section, making sure to develop control measures for each of these hazards. The Online OHS Hazard Register will take you through the process of identifying, assessing, controlling and reviewing the hazard identified. For more information on how to use the Hazard Register, see the tutorial How to Use the Hazard Register in the Online OHS system. Once all the hazards have been identified and control measures implemented, the next step is to develop safe work procedures around the activities, the chemicals and plant equipment you have identified. So during the starter kit process you identified activities, chemicals and plant equipment, and during step 2 you identified hazards relating to them. Step 3 is where you develop safe work procedures to undertake the activities or use the plant equipment and chemicals. When an activity is entered into this system, it also makes a duplicate register called SWM or Safe Work Method Register. This register will highlight the name of the activity, the site or location, and an upload icon where you can upload current safe work methods into the system. This is the first place to start. Identify all your current safe work methods and upload them into the system next to the activity. If you haven't any safe work methods or need to develop some, then select the View Safe Work Method icon. By selecting this icon, the system has implemented the activity and site details into a template. The hazards that you identified in Step 2 and related to the activity can also be seen as foreseeable hazards, including any PPE or personal protective equipment that was implemented as a control measure. Develop procedures for the activities entered by selecting the Add Procedure button. Work your way through the activities, chemicals and plant equipment, developing safe work procedures for them, starting with the items that you identified in Step 2 that have hazards relating to them. You will also need to develop emergency procedures for some of these activities, as well as general safety site emergency procedures. You do this by selecting the Policy and Planning icon, then the Emergency Procedure Register. Step 4 is developing checklists. The hazards we have identified and the activities, chemicals and plant equipment may all need checklists developed. Or you may want to build a checklist to ensure that the control measures you have developed are still in place. Step 5 is policies. You have entered the data into the system, identified the hazards, developed safe work procedures and checklists, so now you need to develop company policies relating to these items entered. Work your way through and develop company policies. For more information on how to use the Policy Builder, see how to use the Policy Register. Step 6, Inductions. To complete the circle of compliance, firstly undertake a training needs analysis to identify what positions in your organisation undertake the activities, use the chemicals and the plant equipment that you have identified through the previous steps. Once identified, enter the inductions and training modules into the system. Watch the induction tutorial for more details on this process. So in summary, let's use an example of a company with a forklift. In Step 1, we would have identified the plant and equipment was a forklift and the activity was use a forklift. In Step 2, we would have identified one of the hazards relating to the forklift as collision with pedestrians. We would have also developed control measures of designated walkways, signage warning employees, flashing lights when forklift was in use, and employees to wear high visibility vests when in the warehouse. In Step 3, we would have developed safe work procedures for the forklift, as well as emergency procedures if a collision was to happen. In Step 4, we would have built a checklist to ensure that these control measures were still in place and being followed by the employees. We would have also developed checklists relating to the use of the forklift. In Step 5, we would have built a policy relating to forklift safety. And in Step 6, we would build an induction into forklift safety and the control measures that we implemented. You can see how it all flows together. Now all you need to do is start this process yourself. For more information, see your local agent or visit our website www.onlinecompliance.com.au.